Hello, everybody. I welcome you all to another episode of the Academic Showdown online group studies. My name is Bafo Ewa Joseph Ejapon, but you can also call me Nana Bafo Ewa or NBA. And I'm going to be your host for this episode. Before I commence with the tutorial, I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Joshua for always helping us and giving us a level of knowledge and understanding to be able to also help others with our knowledge. I send my regards to my respected TAs too as well. TA Morgan, TA Resford, and all the other TAs. I send my regards to you all. And I also want to say a very big thank you to my PUSA president, Mr. Prince Eche, my vice president, Honorable Adiowa Jeffrey. I also send regards to Mr. Jerome Ego Togbe for helping us with our slides. Once again, my name is Nana Bafwewa, and this is Academic Showdown Group Studies. So as you can see, we are going to continue with what we learned last week. Understanding Public Administration Part 2. In Part 1, we learned the meaning of public. That's the generality. We learned the meaning of administration, the meaning of public administration, and what it entails about the importance of also studying public administration. And we are continuing today with Understanding Public Administration Part 2. Please, before you listen to this slide or this recording, you have to listen to the other recording, that's Understanding Public Administration Part 1, before you continue with this, else you'll find it a little bit challenging to understand what I'm going to talk about today. So please, let's engage the first one before we move on to this one. And please, when you go and you listen, or as you are listening right now, kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel. I want to say a very big thank you to you all for subscribing. Like, the way the numbers are increasing, I just started this project and it's a week today, and the subscribing to the channel is increasing, and people are also liking. Make sure you like the videos and make sure you encourage someone to also watch. You always come here to watch because you know what we are doing is helping you, and we are all helping ourselves. So back to the slides. Session overview. I read, although public administration has its own distinctive features which delineates it from other disciplines, some scholars have argued that it is similar to private or business administration. Some have further argued that one can separate administration from politics. These debates have ranged on for a long time. In this session, we endeavor to learn about these controversies and how they have been resolved in the literature. So that's the session overview. We are going to learn why some people are saying that public administration is similar to private or business administration. Wherever you see private, is the same as business administration. Some are also saying that they are two different things. They are two different administrations. We can't say they are similar, therefore they have their differences. That is what we are going to talk about. And some are further argued that one can separate administration from politics. These are the things that we are going to talk about today. So the session outline. The key topics for this session are the following. Topic 1, public and business administration differences. In other words, public and private administration difference. What are the difference between the public and private administrations? We are going to talk about them. They will also talk about the similarities between the two of them in topic 2, the similarities between public and business administration. They also talk about topic 3, politics, administration, dichotomy. Dichotomy. That is what we are going to talk about. And we are also going to talk about politics, administration, convergence. We haven't done topic 4. And with topic 3, we didn't go into details with it in class. So this is going to serve as a fair idea. We are not going to go into deep details in these topics. That's topic 3 and topic 4. We are going to wait for doctor to help us with it. Then we come here and retreat it because doctor have a fair and a bigger understanding about it. Thank you for understanding too. So topic 1, public and business administration differences. I read the first point. They differ in terms of their objectives. We are talking about the differences between public and business administration, or public and private administration. And the first point is saying that they differ in terms of their objectives. The main goal of these administrations differ from each other. The principal goal for establishing private organizations is to maximize profit. The principal goal for establishing private organizations is to maximize profit. So, what does it mean? In every private organization, before administrators comes out to establish or to form or to program any administration, they have the main motive or the end product of organizing that administration is to gain profit, is to earn a lot of income. That is the principal goal of it. The first point is telling us that public and private differ in terms of their objectives. What are their motives? What is the essence of public and private administrations? And with the private, their principal goal for establishing these organizations is to maximize profit, is to gain profit. Sub-point under the first one. The desire for profits in the private sector often forces the administrator to watch costs, control workers, and fire those who do not perform. Because the principal goal for establishing private organizations is to maximize profits, the administrator or administrators of that organization, that desire for maximizing profit forces them to watch cost, the amount of money they are using to build such organizations. What are the people buying most? What are the people calling for a particular product at a particular point in time? A classical example, I don't want to remind us of how we suffered a year or two ago, but during COVID-19, we needed nose masks, we needed a whole lot of things. We needed hand sanitizers, we needed clean tissues, we needed soaps to wash our hands. These are some of the things the administrators watch in order to gain profit. They know that at this point in time, the people need this. So these are the things we are using our money to bring out. These are the products we are bringing out, the goods we are bringing out for the what? For the market. But COVID-19, and you are busily selling, should I say, hard disks, or you are busily selling marker. Even COVID-19, people who were selling sachet water stopped and went in for nose masks and began to sell what? Nose masks. Because they want to gain profits. They want what the people need. To control workers. They also control workers. The administrators control workers. They give them the lay down rules and regulations to what? To follow or to obey. They control workers by sending them to run an errand. They control workers by telling them to file certain documents, to handle certain meetings, to bring out some good conduct. They control workers by rewarding them when they do good things. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to be rewarded, or everyone wants to be honored in an organization. And one way to influence people to put on good conduct and continue to put on the consistency is to reward them, because he or she knows that when you put on good conduct, you are going to be rewarded, and therefore triggers the person to work very, very well. Point 3, fire those who do not perform. Because we want to gain profits, and if you are not working to level our expectations, then I don't think you fit in for such position. If there is an organization and you've been appointed as the administrator, you come to work twice a week. You don't come, and even when you come there, you leave anytime you want. You come in anytime you want. And people are complaining about the products that are coming out, and you are not doing anything about it. You are going to be fired. So I think this is very clear for us to understand. Sub-point under the first point. The success of the organization is always measured in terms of profit. A loss represents failure. This is self-explanatory. The primary goal is to gain profit. So if you are gaining profit, then our organization is becoming successful. Had it been that despite media, when they began to bring their shows, live shows and things that they've been doing, or even let's bring it down to the special eyes that came out, or even cool. When these administrators brought these goods out and they were not gaining profits, do you think they will be doing that? But they continue to bring out these products because they realized that people needed it, people were buying it, and therefore their organization was becoming successful because people are buying it and they are gaining profit. So that's the only tool to measure a private organization. They measure their profit through the kind of successes they make. A loss is failure. So that is for the private industry in terms of their objectives. Let's look at the objective of the public administration. Then we get to see if they really differ in terms of objectives. So on the other hand, profit is not the primary motive of the public sector. The public sector is managed to provide essential goods and services for the citizenry. On the contrary, I'm reading it again. Profit is not the primary motive in the public sector. The public sector is managed to provide essential goods and services to the citizenry. So that is the primary motive about the public sectors. Their own is not to gain profit. Their own is to bring quality goods, to provide a good standard of living for its citizens. That's the public sector. The public sector, for example, a Ministry of Education as a public sector in that regard, does not need profit to function. Its own is to provide a formal and first-class better education for people in Ghana, students in Ghana. That's their own. They do so by providing teaching equipment, providing textbooks. Free SHS, yes. To serve the students in the country, the executive arm of government, to be precise, the Ministry of Education, approved to free senior high school education, and therefore has helped most of the students, majority of us. I can say that most of us enjoy this policy. That's the free SHS. But they didn't check the profits that they are going to gain, or they didn't check the expenses, although they checked. That wasn't their main motive. Their main motive was to provide a better education for us, and they are doing that. Although we are not getting everything that we want, but they are serving us by providing essential goods and services to the citizenry. So when you look at this point that I've brought with respect to the objectives, we've realized that the principal goal for establishing private sector or private organization is to gain profit, to gain money out of it. But when you check the public, their own is to provide essential goods. Their own is to serve their people, whether it costs or it doesn't cost. They are doing their possible best to make us have a good standard of living, to serve the people, to serve everyone to be okay. And I've used the Ministry of Education as an example, and I've used the special eyes or coup for the example of private sector. So you could be asked, when you ask the differences of it, like explain the differences of public and business administration. This is how you can bring out your point. You can bring the differ in terms of their objectives. Then after that, you state under private administration, this and this and that, their primary goal is to gain profit. On the other hand, the primary goal for public administration is what? Or public sector is to serve their citizenry with essential goods and services, period. Then you give some short examples, then you go, you get your full mark. You are still on it. The public administrator is concerned with how to serve the public interest without counting the cost. I think I've explained that. So the second point, also, there is political control of public administrators. We are still talking about the difference. The first one, the public administrator is concerned, that falls under the point I gave with their objective. But another difference between private and public administration or public organization is that there is political control of public administrators under the public administration. In the public sectors, there are always political controls. The political policies that are formed in the country mostly affect almost every public administration or public organization we have in the country. Under these public organizations, even the administrators are politicians themselves, and therefore sometimes work to favor politics. I say work to favor politics means the policies that are implemented at the parliament or at the arms of government, they are the same policies they exhibit in their what? In their organizations. A classical example, if there is a policy, on condition that there is a policy that the students, or no, the Ghana Bar Association, should no member of the Ghana Bar Association is supposed to go to the court for 6 good months. If that policy is brought out, there is no way anyone can go, because it is a public organization and therefore has to submit to the political interest that has been brought out. They are always affected by, public administrators are always affected by political control. They are directly serving the people. You should know that these public administrators are the ones directly serving the people. They are the ones making sure that the country becomes very developed. They are the ones working under the government. So therefore, any political interest or any governmental policy that is brought out is going to affect them directly. But let's look at the business administration. The business administration is not so much affected by political forces. The administrators are removed from the everyday political pressures exerted on administrators in the public administration by ministers. Let me explain the first one before I come down here, because I know it was quite long. In business administration, they are not so much affected by political forces. I know someone is thinking that Aristotle said in Poly 111 that anybody who is not affected by politics is either an animal or a beast. But here, the definition wasn't said that business administration is not affected by political forces totally, but it's saying that it is not so much under the business or private administration. Mostly, they are not the administrators are not ministers. They are not people who are serving under the government. Osei Kwame Despite is not serving under the government. He regulates its own organization by himself. He can only be affected when we are supposed to pay some taxes and other things. But if a policy is said on the Ghana Bar Association not to go to the court, there is no way Osei Kwame Despite and its staff will be arrested when they go and work. They can only be stopped working. The ministers, parliamentarians, or they can be called, Osei Kwame Despite and its staff can be told to stop working when they begin to bring out goods and services that are not relevant, that are dangerous, that are toxic to the people of Ghana. Or when they begin to go contrary to the rules and regulations of the state, when they begin to do different things. A classical example, they can be told to stop working when at United Showbase, that falls under its organization, they stop what they do talking about the country, then therefore begin to sell drugs over the live show. Then they are selling cocaine, they are selling weed or marijuana, they are selling those kind of things. That is when they could be called to stop working from that point in time. So there is a political control, but there is not so much political control. The political control on the private sector is there to monitor them, put them on their toes to work in line with the constitution of the state, not to regulate all the affairs that they are doing. But for the public, they are submissive to the political control of the state. Let's talk about the legal framework as the third point. The environment of public administration is regulated by law. The administrator rigidly lays down rules or guidelines in executing government activities. I read it again. Under the legal framework and rigidity argument, the environment of public administration is regulated by law. When I say the environment, I'm not saying the trees over there and the buildings over there are regulated by law. But the D's, whatever they are doing over there, their day in and day out activities that they are doing in that organization is regulated by laid down rules and regulations. That is when the administrator rigidly follows these laid down rules and regulations in executing governmental activities. But in their laid down rules and regulations, when you look at the current issue that came about, our governor, that she was not called to the bar because of how she portrayed herself on social media. These are laid down rules and regulations in the Ghana Bar Association that as a lawyer, you are supposed to conduct yourself, or there are certain things that you should do, and there are certain things you shouldn't do. You cannot go to the court without maybe I don't know the exact name, but without the wig that they always put on. You will be told that you are naked and therefore go and dress properly to come and address a case over there. These are laid down rules and regulations over there. Let me bring in another example. They are laid down rules and regulations of our president, for our president. He follows laid down rules and regulations in administering governmental activities. Even at the parliament, if a law is supposed to, if a bill is supposed to become a law, it follows down, laid down rules and regulations. Readings, first reading, second reading, several readings has to go on before it will be taken to the other step for even the president to endorse its signature. If you want to impeach a president, you go through some laid down rules and regulations. What is the constitution saying that under which means can we even impeach a president? These are the laid down rules and regulations. That is termed as the environment of public administration. They are regulated by the law. Whatever they do is under the law. But on the other hand, private administrators do not lend themselves to legalities. That is the laid down rules and regulations. They are not too submissive to these legalities. They have flexibility in taking prompt decisions if the action is intended to achieve profit for the organization. The private administrators themselves do not lend themselves to legalities. They can take prompt decisions that they want. That is why firing and hiring is very common. That is why you can punish someone is the administrator. Your school proprietor can sack you from its school. That do not come there again as a teacher because you were found having some personal relationship with one of the students, or you misuse your power to beat a student mercilessly. They are not governed by these laws. They have the flexibility to take prompt decisions. We take decision that we are not going to work for a week. It is their private organization. We take a decision that we are going to work for 24 hours a day. No one is going home. If it intends to gain profit for them and they are doing it, they have the flexibility to do it. But you cannot take such prompt decisions in the public sectors. In private, the administrator can say that he's increasing everybody's salary by 10%. But if in the public sector you want to increase the salary, several petitions has to be written. Before they review these petitions, they will go under some laid down rules and regulations before they are even increased. This is serve as also the difference between the public and private sector. I hope we are all getting in line and we are all working towards one goal to understand what is going on. They are also talking about transparency and accountability arguments. Remember that it is an argument between scholars. Some are saying they are the same. Others too are saying they are different. So this is an argument. So the transparency and accountability argument. You could be asked, let me bring this question in. You could be asked, argue for public and private administration being different. It is the same as what are the difference between public and private administration. So when you are asked of the argument, that is when you bring the transparency and accountability argument. But when you are asked what are the differences between public and private administration or organization, don't say transparency and accountability argument. You are not told to argue, but here you are told to just give and explain the difference. So you just go on point one, transparency and accountability. Then that you come down and explain them. Under the public administration, this, and that. Under the private administration, this, and that, period. That's your difference. But you only bring in the argument when you are told to argue for or argue against that, whether they are similar or they are different. Please, I hope you are all clear. I know you are saying yes, but this is a recorded one and it's not a live one. So most of you can't respond to some rhetorical questions that I also ask. So under the transparency and accountability argument, public administrators are required by law to submit themselves to public scrutiny. Thus, they operate in a glass or goldfish bowl. They must offer explanations for all actions they undertake. Sorry, I was not looking on the screen. Let me read it again. They must offer explanation for all actions they undertake. When we say accountability, what is accountability? Accountability is being held responsible for your actions and inactions. We learned this in Poly 212. We learned this in Poly 2 and 112. We were learning institutions, where we were learning the functions of these political institutions, formal political institutions, the three arms of government and those kind of things. We came in line with accountability. And we were told, Dr. Kwame Asante, I send my regards to you and I appreciate all that you've done for us. Which school is this? Yes. He made us know that when we say accountability is being held responsible for your actions and inactions. So under the public administrators are required to what? Submit to law, to submit themselves to public scrutiny. That's they operate in glass or goldfish bowl. Whatever they do, they have to send explanations to us. Why are we going to the IMF? We are going to the IMF because our economy is about to crash and we need some funds from external sources to manage our economy. That is the role of the public administration. They always explain, they have to explain, they have to make sure its electorates, its citizens are aware of whatever decision they are taking. They cannot just go and work backdoor and bring out certain things. When you bring it out, you explain to us. That is why even at the parliament, a minister could be called to come and explain, would be called question time. We ask you questions. Why did you do this? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? They do all these things to promote accountability. Because when you are going to explain, when you are going to account for whatever you've done, it will help you it will make sure you become responsible and do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do the right thing, you'll be told to account for what you did and what you did not do. What you did not do comes in because you are supposed to do, maybe you are supposed to send the file to the manager, the secretary. You are supposed to send the file to the manager. Then you decided not to send the file. Your action is you decided not to send the file. Your inaction is you were supposed to send the file to the manager and therefore you did not do it. That's your inaction. And your action was you decided not to perform your duty by sending it to the file, sending the file to the manager. So under transparency and accountability argument, it talks about these public administrators working in a glass bowl. That's that working in an open environment, not coming to sit at the school park to come and work for us, but they explain each and every single decision they take, each and every single thing they do, whatever is going on, why the economy is crashing, why the Akosombo Dam has failed and therefore has to be done. They are explaining all these kind of things, why we are supposed to pay our taxes, why e-levy, why we are supposed to wear our nose mask. That's why the president was always updating us on COVID-19, because he's working under public administration, under public organization, and therefore has to do this transparency and accountability, because when the people die, he will be accounted for. Why would he be accounted for? Because it is his responsibility to tell the people that they should do this in order not to die. If he refuses, that is his inaction. I hope you are all clear. On the other hand, in the private or business administrators are not controlled or scrutinized by agents of the state. I think I've misread it. Business administrators are not controlled and scrutinized by agents of the state, except where their actions contravene the general laws of the land. So, under the private or business administrators, they are not forced to come and work in an open glass something. Although accountability is there, that is when they measure their profits and measure their losses and get to know whether they are being successful or they are failing, and therefore can hold an administrator in that private organization or a worker responsible for a loss or for a gain. But it is not compulsory for them to come and work in a transparent glass bowl or a goldfish bowl. That's an idiomatic expression. But they can go back, do background checks, work at background, bring their goods and services to what? To promote development. There is no way the parliament can call a private organization to come and explain to itself why they are losing, why they are failing, why are they experiencing losses but not profits. That's not the job of the public sector to call the private sector. They can only be held accountable or held responsible when they are these do not fall under the rules and regulation, when they disobey the constitution of the state. That is when they could be banned from their operation. The men's code, I'm sorry to remind you of your loss. But when the government realized that the men's code was not functioning properly, legally, but for some one or two reasons, regarded the men's code as an illegal organization, that was when they stopped him from functioning. They stopped the organization from functioning. But there's no way they could have called NAM1 to the parliament that why is he gaining profits or why is he losing? But he was called because he is serving the citizens as a private organization. But his deeds or his motive or certain things he did with respect to the organization was illegal and therefore was told to stop. And therefore he has stopped. He can only come back and come and work again when he begins to use legal means to function or to serve the state. but he was told to stop because he was using illegal means. I don't really know much about it, and I don't want to go and say something I can never take it back. By the end of the day, you see police knocking at my door to come and explain myself at the court. But all that I know was he was using illegal means, full stop. So yeah, moments good at myself. I'm just using it as an example. Thank you so much. Yes. So when you look at the difference in terms of transparency and accountability, under the public sector, they are forced to give explanations to whatever they are doing. That's accountability. They are forced to do an open work, a glass or a goldfish bowl for everyone to know what is going on. But under the private, they can work indoors and bring whatever they are doing out. Another different argument, tenure and efficiency argument. Tenure and efficiency argument. We are still on the differences between public and private administration. And the fourth point is tenure and efficiency argument. In public administration, employees generally enjoy considerable amount of security of tenure. Their positions in government organizations are certain and are not subjected to arbitrary dismissals. I read it again. In public administration, employees generally enjoy considerable amount of security of tenure. Their positions in government organizations are certain and are not subjected to arbitrary dismissals. That is when there is a secure tenure of office for employees who work under public administration. The electoral commission has electoral commissioner has a secure tenure of office. The president, that is why we conduct elections every 4 years, as the constitution says, a secure tenure of office. You can only be removed when your deeds are unconstitutional. That is when you are removed. But that one, it goes through a series of processes. That is why the second point is saying that their positions in government organizations are certain and are not subjected to arbitrary dismissal. No one can just get up one day in the morning and go and tell the electoral commissioner that I've dismissed you. Although it's the president who appoints them, he cannot just get up and say that I've dismissed you. Or no one can say that we have dismissed our president. But we can only choose another president by our 4-year election. When you look at the private, on contrary, private administration is characterized by fluidity. The private fluidity. Hey, this one I did TikTok right now. Like wallahi. At some point, on contrary, the private administration is characterized by fluidity of tenure of job. Hiring and firing is common. It's a common phenomenon in private administration. Hey, please, I beg you. No one should use me as a funny video. I know this recording I'm going to post on YouTube. It's sermon. Something is telling me I should cancel this recording and do a live one, but the time that I've spent over it, please, I'm going to post it. Please, I beg you in the name of God, please. Please, don't use me as... And whoever go and pick that point only and post it here, if you learn this thing, you will not understand in Jesus' name. You will not understand our lie. You tell me. Okay. No one is perfect, but at least we can also use that to laugh. At least we are all humans and it's nothing. You can also use it to laugh. Yes, so let's get back to it. So In private administration, hiring and firing is a common phenomenon. That's why I said that your proprietor or your school director can just get up and tell you that after your administrator can tell you, the secretary, or you, the organizing secretary, that you are not going to work under this organization anymore because of the certain conduct or because of your misconduct. Therefore, he sacks you from the job. It's very simple. He can also hire people. Someone can bring the CV and that day you get a job. Yes, go. So at that place, we can appoint a new administrator at any point in time. We can also fire anyone at any point in time. But under the public administration, these administrators enjoy a secure tenure of what? Of office. And I use the president and the electoral commissioner as a classical example that they enjoy 4-year tenure of office per the constitution in our country. We are still on the tenure and efficiency argument. Also, there is efficiency in private administration than public administration. So my first submission was on the tenure. Right now we are on the efficiency. What is the efficiency saying? Also, there is efficiency in private administration than public administration. Why? Public administration is more concerned with acting to satisfy the public interest without counting the losses. In public administration, their main motive is to what? Provide goods and services for a citizenry without counting the losses. We can all attest to the fact that free education was a big policy for our president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in his first administration. But he did that because he had the motive for what? Giving a better education to every youth member of the country. If you want to have education, you are going to enjoy a free senior high education. Although they checked the losses, but they didn't what? Use that as their personal and principal goal. And it could be that as a result of that, it could lead to the clash of our economy because it's very expensive to pay for the school fees, to provide books, to provide food, accommodation. I completed Prempeh College and they are building new hostels, new houses. That's what we say in Lesotho. New houses, new classrooms, and those kind of things. And these are the same thing happening at various secondary schools too as well. And these, but as a result of that, do not provide efficiency in the public sectors because they don't focus on the losses, but they just focus in satisfying their citizenry. But on the other hand, the private administration is usually run on efficient and result-oriented lines. For them, they check the cost. They focus on the losses, the expenditure, the number of, the amount of cedis or dollars or pounds, naira they have to spend on a particular project. They check all these things before they bring out their policies or they embark on programs and therefore provide efficiency. There's someone checking that and knows that if you use 2 cedis to do this, it will last for this time. If you use 3 cedis to do this, it will last for this time. So which one are we going for? In order not to lose, let's use the 2 cedis to do this. As soon as we gain profits, then we go in for the 3 cedis to provide a better one. These are some of the things that they do. And it provide efficiency. So we've talked about the differences. We talked about the difference in their goal. We've talked about difference in tenure. We talked about the legal framework and we've talked about the legal framework. We've also talked about the efficiency We've talked about transparency and accountability too as well. Right now, we are going to the similarities between public and private administration. Some scholars also argue that there are two, and we are here to check under what means or which premises do we conclude that these public and private administration is what is the same. So let's check. The administrative science perspective. It is argued that administrators in both public and business administration engage in POSDCORB. These are acronyms of the various points we see below here. Point one, they are similar in planning. What does it mean? Well, look at the private administration, they plan, both private and public administration, they plan on whatever they want to do. Their planning is the mental picture of what they want to do. So we are organizing this program and we are inviting the president and other dignitaries. How do we plan the program? Someone is planning on the stage, someone is planning the creation, someone is planning on the sound. These are the things that they do. They plan on how to spend money on road at the public sector, how to spend money on constructing new roads, how to spend money on importing new goods and services to the country. These are some of the planning that goes on in the public sector. And in the private sector, they also sit down, have meetings, plan that in these 4 years of administration, under the private, maybe these 2 years of administration, what are the things that we are supposed to do to ensure that there is always profit, there is always victory or success in our organization. And then they sit down and bring out new policies, efficient policies to make sure that they continue to maintain the good grades they have. Or even though they are losing, they can also sit down and plan that looking at this private industry, what are we lacking? What are the things that we are supposed to bring on board to ensure that we do not fail again, or we do not experience losses, but we begin to gain profits. These are some of the plans that go on. Point two, organizing. Organizing is the physical part of planning. So maybe we have planned on embarking this program. What entails the program? Then we organize. We organize the program by sending letters to dignitaries to invite them to the program. It's all part of the organization. We organize the program by publicizing it on our social media platform and even radios and even in cars, playing music and going around in the towns to make people see us virtually. These are all part of organizing. In the public administration, they also organize elections. They make sure they have enough ballot papers, they have ballot boxes, they have personnel, polling agents that make sure that an election goes on well. These are some of the things that they do. They are organized. They all organize various programs before they take actions or before we see them live. Point three, staffing. Each of them have personnel. We should not forget that under the elements of public administration, it includes people, because it's the people who are going to roll the stone that couldn't have moved and would have been stagnant. They all have staffs. They all have, under the public, they have ministers, they have parliamentarians, These are, they have, you even look at the this thing. These police personnel, military personnel, they are all serving under public administration. Lawyers at the High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, these judges, they are all serving under public administration. Public administration have staff, they have personnel who perform some specific functions. And under the private too, they have their secretaries, they have their organizing secretaries, they have their administrators who are also doing the grassroots works. So they both have staffs. Directing, they both direct. The primary goal of private is to gain profit. Therefore, they are directed by the rules and regulations in order to gain profits. Public to serve the people with essential goods and services. We are directed to produce essential goods and services. By serving the people, we are directed to construct roads. We are directed to provide social amenities. These are directed. Coordinating, they coordinate with each other. Public organizations coordinate with other public organizations to serve the people. So if one is providing educational materials, one is providing security, one is interpreting laws, one is bringing out policies, implementing policies. Coordinating under the private, so the members coordinate with each other. Before a letter will be sent, even the secretary has to go through the letter and send it to the administrator, even for a signature, before it becomes legal for a letter to be moved from one company to the another company. That's the level of coordinating. They need their financial secretary to check the losses, the cost and other things to run the administration. Reporting, you report under the public. For a classical example, ministers report to the parliamentarians. Question time, they explain. That is when transparency goes on. They explain their deeds, their actions and inactions over there. Reporting, you can also be called before a panel at a private organization to report whatever you have done under your administration. What did you do as a manager? You came to meet this budget. You took this budget to perform this action. Come and do what? Come and report how you spend the budget, how you use the budget to develop the organization. They also budget. They are all budgeting. We hear our financial minister reading the budgets and other things. They all do this kind of thing. These are the number of money that we need to develop the country. We need this amount of money to build roads, to build schools, to build hospitals, to even conduct elections. These are our budgets under the public administration. And the private too, before they organize program, the organizers bring out their budgets that we are going to need these sound systems. We are going to need this stage lights. We are going to need these microphones. You are going to need money to provide item 13. As people are telling me, to provide item 13 for our physical tutorials. We budget. Then I'll budget that, okay, I am expecting a number of people. This number I'm expecting, I have to budget this amount of money to get this kind of food to serve the people. They are also part. So after explaining these points, we can also attest to the fact that although they have their own respective differences, at some point in time too, they can also be the same, or they all share some respected similarities. So let's come to other arguments about public and private organization. The normative argument. Public and business administration mobilize human and material resources to achieve their goals. The two emphasize cooperative interaction among human beings as the basis for achieving optimal results or efficiency. They all strive to provide essential services to their clients or people. They are organized based on verbal hierarchical structure in which superiors occupy the topmost positions and subordinates take the bottom positions. So when you look at the first point, as I explained, they all have to mobilize humans and material resources in order to achieve their goals. They all need personnel to perform. The two emphasize interaction among human beings and the basis for optimal results or efficiency. These are the same human beings who are going to perform over there. They all strive to provide essential services to their clients or people. The public are providing these essential goods and services. Private industry, manufacturing industries, also private manufacturing industry also think of bringing out quality goods, because if your goods are not good, people will not come for it. That is why most people prefer some particular mineral water over others, because they think this particular mineral water is what is is with high quality than the other, and therefore go for it. So you can gain profit because of the kind of quality you have in your goods. And loss become your friend when you don't provide quality goods. And they are organized based on various hierarchical structure in which superiors occupy the most positions. Yes. When you look at the structure of the Electoral Commission, we have the head, we have 2 deputies and 4 other members. So the head as the electoral commissioner, she will organize she will occupy the topmost position, and the other 4 members will occupy the smaller positions. Even at school, we have the director, we have the headmaster, assistant headmaster. We come to teachers, we come to students, we come to the class prefects, the SRC. Even in the University of Ghana, you can see our hierarchy. Those with the highest skills and degree and quality are the ones occupying the topmost position. And it comes down to the students, comes down to the class rep, that I'm one of them, comes down to the SRC president, comes up like, yes, that is how it's going to be. I'm not saying the class rep is higher than the SRC president. The SRC president is the leader of all the students, and therefore we are submissive to the SRC president. I send my regards to your Honorable Frank Chikata and Mr. Zanyo. Economic and private partnership arguments. Other scholars think that public and business administrators are the same because they all cooperate on business principles. Yes. For other scholars, they think that it's all about business, because it is in business that we check our losses and profits. We are bringing out these goods and services because you know that people are going to what? Are going to buy them. Therefore, you are doing business with them. You are serving them, and they are also giving you their money. Under the public too, we are paying our taxes to them for them to use it to develop our country. It is a business that we are all running, because it is these small taxes we pay that will help the country and boost their funds in order to develop the country for us. So if we do not pay our taxes, if we do not perform some specific functions we are supposed to do, our country too will lack will lack funds, or there will be an inadequate funds to develop our country, and therefore we are going to be underdeveloped. That will be a loss for the country. Most public corporations, such as water and energy providers, operate as business or commercial entities. As I've said, even providing water for us, we have to pay our water bills. Providing electricity, we have to pay our light bills, because it is a business we are running. The payment of our light bills is what will help us to produce lights for our Kosomo people working at the Kosomo Dam to produce light to us. The phenomenon of public-private partnership means the two live in coexistence and cooperation. Yes. This public administration They are the ones setting the laws for us. And if you are setting laws over taxes, that we are supposed to pay our taxes, their businesses are supposed to pay taxes, these private institutions are supposed to pay this or that, and there is no one to establish these private institutions. Do you think you are going to get the taxes that you want from them? You are going to get the money that you want from them? They all work hand in hand. We need these private industries to also provide goods and services such as water, mineral waters. They provide the Adonko. Adonko is not a public industry. It's a private. And it's helping because even these administrators and the public sometimes also drink Adonko. We cooperate with each other. This is where I'll end our lectures. I said the politics and administration dichotomy has not well been treated in class, and doctor said he'll go into details about it. So you'll wait for him to treat it before we also engage it here. But today we've been able to learn about the differences between public and private industries. We've talked about the difference in terms of their objectives, the difference in security, secure tenure of office, efficiency, transparency, accountability. We've talked about all these things. We've talked about the similarities that they all plan, they all organize, they all report. I have the slides over here. They have staffs, they have to there should be staff, there should be coordinating, directing, budgeting. These are also similarities that we can clearly pick out in the both public and private industries or organizations. I thank you all for listening to this recording. And as you know, this is a private organization by the Director General. My name is Bafo Ewa Joseph Ejapon Nanaya. Why did I mention my local name? Yes, that's my name. You can also call me Nana Bafo Ewa or NBA. And I'm the one serving as the administrator of this organization called the Academic Showdown for Poly 211 Introduction to Development Studies and Poly 213 Introduction to Public Administration. I thank you all for joining. We have our tutorials, online tutorials, every weekend, Saturday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. for Introduction to Development Studies, Poly 211. Then the following day, Sunday, same days, same time, we also have our online sessions for Introduction to Public Administration, Poly 213. Thank you all for joining this program and listening to this recording. I thank you all for joining. The name remains at Nana Bafo Ewa. Let's not forget. Send me your questions on the group platform that we have, and we will all answer them. Thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye.